Commodity rallies from copper to soybeans. We are going to discuss the agricultural commodities with Virginia McGathey for the first time on Connected Farmer, your channel to keep you up to date with the latest trends in agriculture and livestock. So, Virginia, welcome to Connected Farmer. You're here for the first time. I would like you first to introduce yourself because it's the first time you are here, and then we can talk about these hot issues that, I think one of the hottest issues is soybeans above $14 a bushel.
Yes, my name is Virginia McGathey, and I've been in commodities since 1983. I've been on the trading floor really since that time, and of course, it's been a year. In 2 weeks, it'll be 1 year since they closed the floor down for the commodities. And I primarily was trading in options, but of course, with options, you still trade a lot of the futures. For a long time, my primary area was wheat, but of course, we trade all the commodities. So wheat, corn, and soybeans, they intersect often over the decades, and so I have a handle on them all. And currently, I'm doing the market commentary 3 times a week for the CME, just to keep track of what's happening in the market. And clearly, we're on the precipice of the first time that we're having a big move, and certainly a big move to the upside electronically. And so we're navigating that for the first time, and there's some interesting things that are part of the electronic piece, as well as just the fundamental piece about what's happening in the world regarding the food space and commodities in general.
Yeah, so it seems that all commodities are rallying at this time. We have been seeing soybeans at this level for more than 10 years, I guess. So not 10 years, but 8 years. And what do you think is the major reason for that?
Well, the major reason is China, actually. We've had a bumper crop for the last number of years, but the issue with China basically buying all of Brazil's crop, and regardless of the issues that the US has had with China regarding the tariffs, I would say starting about back in September, they really start to ratchet up the exports from the US. And it's important for your viewers to know that we are only 6 months into our marketing year, and we have commitments for about 98% of our grain. Now, commitments doesn't necessarily mean shipments, but we've shipped out about 88%, and we still have 6 months to go. Normally, something like that would really place the prices up quite a bit higher. Now, about 9 months ago, we saw soybeans specifically at around 820, maybe at the 820 mark, and of course, here we are at $14. At that same time, we saw corn right around $3. There was a real worry that the market was going to drop below, seeing that the value of corn and processing was, a zero-sum game at about 310, 315. And now here we are, pushing 550, 560. And the same thing with wheat. Wheat has always been the one that we've known that there's so much wheat around the world that it was going to be difficult for it to move at all. And certainly it has tagged along with corn and soybeans, because what happens is as the corn gets too expensive, the wheat becomes the feed product kind of. But we've got other issues happening now that could actually take that weight off the grain market with wheat. And if wheat has its own fundamental bullish support, that means that it's really going to be off to the races for all three grains. Now, the biggest thing about this rally is it started with soybeans and then it reversed back to corn, and now we're back to soybeans over that $14 mark. Now, based on what we just heard last week from the Agriculture Outlook Forum, it looked like the number, it seemed relatively neutral, but as you look at it a little bit closer, there is some bullish things about those numbers. If all the expectations are true, that really puts soybeans at about 1550. If soybeans gets to 1550, easily corn is well over $6. That's going to put wheat well over $7. And it seems like we're really knocking on the door right now. Now, when I get back to the electronic trading situation, the markets in the grains, this rally has kind of just quietly gotten to this point. I don't believe that we've even had one limit move yet, which is shocking to me in my 40 years in this business that this has happened. And I think that it's clearly they've widened the limits, but I think there's so much money involved in the equity market. It hasn't really shifted over to commodities like it normally would do annually. And that's because the stock market is just so strong. If we ever get a switch or get some influx of money here, we could see, I would say, just a lot more volatility in the market.
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and you can ask
Yes,
me.
I wanted to ask if you think there is room for more growth because um, Brazil, every consultancy and every government agency is saying that there will be a record crop. But I have been to those crops and I saw a lot of damage to corn crops, and there is a significant delay for the soybean crops that are more resistant. And on the other side, on the wheat side, I have been hearing about problems on the American crop. I understand that the market has already priced weather issues in Argentina and economic issues in Russia. But what about the
Well, right now with the cold weather that we've had, there is an estimation that there will be some winter kill. It's going to take a little bit of time to assess what it is, but clearly, as time goes on, some of the experts are saying that they're really expecting, a decent amount. Now, if it's more than they're expecting, that coupled with the fact that we've had dryness in the Central Plains for a long time, and we certainly expect from the wheat crop to lose a lot of the acreage to corn and soybeans because the prices of those grains are so high. That would absolutely put wheat in play on its own without being tagging along with corn and soybeans. And of course, then that will really add one more component to lift all the grains a little bit higher. And clearly, we're not sure what's happening in Russia or how to apply what they plan to do with the taxation and things. And so some of those farmers aren't really certain about it, but clearly that could be an issue that we've got to keep an eye on. With soybeans in Brazil, I know that they're behind on their harvest, and I know that they're talking about quality issues. That could be a problem, but at the same time, it may not deter China from continuing to buy. And the more China continues to buy the crop in Brazil, that's going to also add prices, add premium to the prices in the United States as well. So while Brazil and the United States compete against each other, if China is going to buy all of our crop on both sides, we're going to see much higher prices going forward.
Oh, there should be a slice for everyone, but
Yes.
it seems that what are you seeing on the domestic side? Because I see a lot of comment that there will be a strong recovery, but probably it's just in the second half of the year.
Well, I think that that's what we're looking for and we're hoping for. We have a lot of nervous people. We've had such a challenge with the transition to the new president and the new administration. We're really only 1 month in, but we're very hopeful about the vaccine, just the outlay of the vaccine, getting there much more quickly than we had just a couple of months ago. I'm looking at what happened in China. They were able to really lock down the country or get a handle on the virus to the point where when they came out of it much more quickly than we did, their boost in their GDP was pretty high, and I think that that was kind of the impetus behind China buying so much grain. If that's a little bit of a tell on what's going to happen in the United States, I think that we have room for explosive growth. And while we may looking towards the latter half of the year, if something were to change more quickly, I think that we could see the expansion move very quickly. That's going to be something that we're going to watch over the next number of months. Clearly, as summer comes, if things really start to improve as far as the virus goes, that we can see this expansion really explode. And at that point in time, that also is going to add to the premium and the prices of all the grains. Especially, I mean, maybe the numbers that I told you about the objective will become a support number as opposed to an objective number. Could we see $18 beans? Could we see, $10 wheat and $8 corn? It's almost frightening to think of it, but I wouldn't bet against it.
And what are your marketing recommendations with this bullish environment?
Well, I always say that during any kind of rally with the grain market, it normally takes the stairs up, but when it goes down, it takes the elevator down. So for the most part right now, it's really important to leverage what you're doing with future. If you're trading futures, leverage it with options. You can always take a chance. You can buy calls all the way out for the next 2 years, and you can also protect yourself on buying puts. It's sometimes people don't want to spend the money on them, but the insurance and the opportunities outweigh the risks. As a trader, you always want to live to trade another day. If you're a producer or really inside the market, you must protect yourself. And at the same time, you want to be able to ride the rally as long as you can, seeing that for the last 7 or 8 years, it has been so difficult to just keep your head above water. So those two things are the perfect reason why you would get involved in options. If you don't understand them enough, the CME website actually offers a lot, but there's so much information out there online. It's important to learn it and be a part of it. And even if you're a small trader or if you're a big producer, that this market is welcoming to everyone. And I think that it's going to be front and center, especially because as these prices get higher, you're going to see the grocery store and your dining room table is going to be affected by how much it's going to cost to eat over the next number of years.
Well, we hope to hear from Virginia several times on this show. What it was really interesting. Thank you, Virginia, and send your final message, please.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I just want to tell everyone that this quiet market in the grain market, which is like food for the world, has really become a community that embraces everyone in the world, and we all are going to be a part of it. It's really important to kind of stay on top of what's really happening here, and the importance of all of us really working together is going to come into play more so than any other economics. The equity markets are one thing, but certainly the commodity markets are going to be the strongest thing that's really going to hold us together as a, as a global community. And I think that we're all going to need to really get on board. And these markets I expect that there's going to be an enormous amount of volatility ahead. So it's really time to buckle up. Thank you for having me.